I'm joined by one of the Secretary Generals of the trade unions, and this is the Public Service Workers Union, Bernard Adjei, his name is, who is also going to share his reflections and views on what he's heard so far and whether those gave him some hopes of a better future. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining. Good afternoon, I should say.
It's afternoon. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners. Yeah.
Overall, what has been, or what were your impressions overall?
Overall, Ghanaians, we want peace. We want to have a peaceful election. We want to be free to decide on who we want to lead this country. Basically, that is it. We don't want to do it by hurting each other. We don't want to do it by destroying our country. And all the speeches have covered the most important thing. But for now, what I want to say, and my impression is that what we need is what we have to do as citizens, what we have to do as workers. And most important, we should ensure that there is justice and equal right in this country. Because there's no justice, there's no equal right. No matter how much peace we preach, if people feel that they are not being treated fairly, definitely we are not going to have the peace we want for our national development.
Thank you very much, Bernard. You had the Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yalba, as well as the President, and in both speeches, they both mentioned certain areas which, of course, are of interest to them. Key among what Mr. Yalba or Dr. Yalba talked about is joblessness among the youth, high inflation rate, cedi depreciation, and our dependence on imports. The President also reiterated the fact that the current state of our economy is not one that is self-inflicted as is being reported, but that we are suffering as a result of COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war. In the both cases, you heard all of them. Was there any point where you thought, this is what I'm looking for?
Well, of course, with organized labor, what the Secretary General has said is our position as organized labor. COVID and Ukraine war didn't affect only Ghana. There are other countries that we, in terms of resources, in terms of personnel, in terms of professionals, managing our public institutions and our resources, we are far ahead of, but they did not suffer in the same way and measure that we suffered. So there's a general challenge that has been brought on all over the world in every economy by the advent of COVID and Russia-Ukraine war. However, we've had some support from our international partners and other things, and we have failed. We must accept that as a country to even apply the resources that we had as a result of COVID. I mean, the accounting for those resources still are not very clear, and there are issues that needed to be addressed. The bottom line, and I go with what our Secretary General has said, that is our position, that government has failed to manage this economy in a way that, despite the COVID and the Ukraine crisis, would have been better off, or would have come out of this crisis more stronger than we are. But what we have now is unacceptable. The debt situation is just crazy. Things are not really well. We are wobbling, and we only pray that will come out of this crisis. As workers, we have done our part, and we think that we should bite the bullet, and we should accept it that as a country and the managers of this country have failed us, and we are all ready as workers to still put our hands on deck and make sure that this country does not go down.
Having said that, does it also not excite you that in the President's speech he highlighted the fact that a lot is being done to ensure the integrity of trade union activities right across the country, to the extent that infrastructure has been provided to make your working environment a bit more freer for you? So not only do you have landed properties being constructed, you also have vehicles as well as motorcycles being procured for the activities of trade unions. Apart from that, does it also not excite you that the President encourages union to hold state institutions accountable? Does it not excite you that the President is encouraging unions to do this?
Well, we always do our best as labor to hold state institutions accountable. Rather, I think there's a problem of political interference at every level. I'm General Secretary of the Public Services Workers Union. We deal with about 70 public institutions, and I know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of politicization where even the organization should go and what should be done. We have some of these things affecting us.